Association of Dead People vs. State of Uttar Pradesh on 7 January 2000. Origin of these proceedings rest on a media report highlighted in Time magazine, Asia edition. The correspondent one, Michael Fathers, along with Meenakshi Ganguly, apparently made an on-spot inquiry and published an article entitled Plight of the Living Dead. Indian farmers declared deceased by unscrupulous relatives must prove they are alive to regain their land. As the matter is now being sent by the High Court to the National Human Rights Commission for its convenience. The eastern fringes of India's Uttar Pradesh state are known as the Badlands, a place where hired killers can be bought and farmers eke out a living on plots as two ingredients: crime, shortage of agricultural land, throw in a large chunk of greed, mix in some family rivalry, and you come up with an ingenious scam. Just head to the nearest land registry office, bribe an official, declare the owner dead, and claim his land. "I'm here, I'm alive," says Lal Bihari, told revenue officials after discovering he was listed as deceased in 1976. "That may be so, but according to my books, you are dead," an unruffled clerk replied. It took Lal Bihari 18 years to get his life and his land back. During that time, he added the word dead to his name, and to prove he was alive, he was living, sought arrest, tried to run for parliament, kidnapped the son of the uncle who had stolen his property, threatened murder, insulted judges, threw leaflets listing his complaints at legislators in the state assembly, and demanded a widow's pension for his wife. Each time he was either beaten up by police or rebucked for wasting officials' time. Lal Bihari is not sure how many members there are in his association of dead people. He's vague about its constitution, and it has no one is paying importance or any attention, at least for now. But in his home district of Azamgarh, Lal Bihari and his association have become a magnet for dead souls of the region. He receives letters and secret visits from victims or their relatives, hoping he can restore their property. Like other eastern districts in Uttar Pradesh, Azamgarh is overcrowded. Land is the only source of income, and status for most residents is scarce. Holdings is getting smaller, divided and subdivided as families grow larger. Rich and poor find it difficult to resist stealing land from the absentee uncle, cousin, nephew, widow, or any weak and vulnerable relative. The quickest, simplest way is to bribe the landlord's officials. Depending on the size of the plot and the wealth of the farmer, declare a person dead and grab his share of property. When Lal Bihari first went to court to tell the magistrate he was alive, his cousins beat him. He is trying to revive the case, now lost in India's labyrinthine judicial system. Not everyone can afford such magnanimity. Most victims are widows or someone sick or simple who are listed as dead. The chief magistrate complained that when notices were issued to those against whom allegations had been made that they were squatting on agricultural lands when original farmers were alive but shown dead, the police did not come forward to assist either the district magistrate or the chief judicial magistrate to effect service on these notices. Tampering of the record, the land revenue records, was now becoming a phenomenon as if it was a second habit in the district of Azamgarh. Thus, the court recorded on December 17, 1999, suffice it to say that the situation is a matter of concern for the High Court, as giving an impression that the poor people can easily lose their rights on their agricultural holdings, with the records being tampered and showing them as dead, and all they can do is cry outside and beyond their periphery of their agricultural land that they have been ousted, and there are no takers to listen to their plight and complain. Now, it was clear that this was a never-ending process. The district magistrate Azamgarh informed the court that what what has been discovered, about 90 cases is only the tip of the iceberg. He informed the court that now he is receiving complaints about 50 or 60 a day. It was his contention that even if half of these complaints were correct, another phenomenon is surfacing, the like of which has not been noticed even by the court. He indicated to the court that he has come across entries in the land revenue records to the effect that possession has been delivered to the land mafias or unscrupulous persons who, as organized crime connivance with the official record keeper, have arranged a state of affairs to obtain possession of lands ostensibly under court records, whether revenue courts or civil courts. But on scrutiny, he found that the so-called court record did not exist. The Penal Code 1860, when it provides the deal with circumstances of false evidence and offense against public justice, had intended to deal with law-abiding society generally. There is public justice to be delivered by the administration too. The courts come later, but the circumstances acknowledged in the present proceedings reveal that the official keepers of the land records are not official in the discharge of their obligations. There are fixers who distort the truth both within the administration and the public injustice system. The media carried reports while these proceedings were pending about the affected people of Azamgarh, primarily agriculturalists recorded dead but alive, who took out a procession in the state capital Lucknow before the houses of legislature. The poor agriculturalists must have protection at every time, and apprehension has been expressed that if the proceedings were to take place, then all this being inquired into as a consequence of the proceedings will be constantly under threat of their lives. Deprivation of this source of livelihood and the manner in which it has taken is a matter which concerns human rights. For any person who has been kicked out and off his agricultural land, the matter affects his life and liberty both. Deprivation of the source of livelihood is now well recognized as violation of Article 21 of the Constitution of India. The liberty to hold a property with confidence, especially a property which is the only source of livelihood, stands curtailed, and the affected persons are unable to live off their deprived agricultural land. Livelihoods affects life. Consequently, this affects the dignity of the individual, that in poverty he cannot defend his life and liberty. Lastly, equal protection of the laws, and the court regrets to record and it is accepted at the bar and is not available to these poor agriculturalists. These cases have virtually become a phenomenon of violation of human rights. Concern is good, but the follow-up action to aid these poor agriculturists into possession must rest on assured security to till their land, so that this ugly phenomenon of fabrication of official records and collusion between land mafias and officials who possess these records is broken. A solution which has not been presented before the court. The state must have a will to present this solution and execute it. Having lost their agricultural holdings, otherwise having been shown dead in the records, they have no source of livelihood. The two learned amicus curiae at the bar had submitted that they do not even have resources to come to the High Court, and for that matter engage a lawyer to file a complaint before the Chief Judicial Magistrate. They are looking for protection of the law and the like of which is mentioned in the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. In proceedings before the court, there is no rivals, there are no adversaries. all council have joined and agreed that the phenomenon of living dead will need to be remedied first. It has also it has also been indicated to the court that the phenomenon is not isolated to Azamgarh, and the aspect of people being shown dead on the land revenue records and their lands being usurped illegally by those who can arrange it with connivance of officials is an ugly reality. The Registrar, High Court, will deliver certified record to all counsel at the bar, including the Chief Standing Counsel, UP, free of charge, as this is a public interest litigation. As the matter new will be filed before the National Human Rights Commission. These proceedings stand consigned. Thank you.